Okay, I'm here today with Mark, who has been going through the Total Life Fitness Academy and has gotten some great results. And he's going to share a little bit about his experience. So, Mark, let's just kind of start a little bit with, tell us a little bit about who you are, maybe where you're from, and what you were doing before joining our program.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, my name is Mark Rose and I live in Madison, Wisconsin, with my wife and three kids. Life is full and busy and everything in between. I'm a lead consultant for a Catholic organization. I coach and consult Catholic ministries all over the country. So life is busy. I travel a lot, and but I grew up playing sports, so I was relatively active. I play volleyball, pretty much every week. I lift occasionally, go on walks, but I also like my food, and so I kind of ate what I just wanted to eat day in, day out. And I kind of was doing a number of different things, just kind of looking up ways. I just carried an extra weight that I knew I needed to lose to kind of get myself back at an ideal weight, an ideal place I wanted to be at. And, my wife certainly supported that. And just was kind of banging my head up against the wall about a number of things. And I certainly would yo-yo between a couple different weights. I'd lose 10, 15 pounds and then regain it. And I was just going back and forth and just struggling to find answers to questions. I kind of had a hunch of what I needed to do around and it was kind of centralized around my nutrition. And I ate lots of vegetables, ate lots of lean, meats, but I like my treats and I like my drinks. So, and I didn't really track anything, and I never really tracked my weight either. So, yeah, I felt like I was doing everything I could, but still struggling to find answers to some of my questions and getting to a place where I needed to be. And I have three young kids, and I just wanted to be a good example to them. And so, yeah, again, like I was always someone who was, trying to do it on his own and fairly active, and it's not, extremely overweight, but knew I needed to be at a better place. So I wanted to find something, where I could fit it within our busy lifestyle and just traveling on the road, and it fit in with the stuff that I usually like to do. So that's kind of where I came from.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing that, Mark. So now we kind of talk about, like, obviously we connected. So talk about, like, why you ultimately decided to join our program, and were there any hesitations on your end about joining it all?
Yeah, I got to know you, Luke, on a few of your platforms, and I was about 6, 7 months ago. I started doing something that I pledged not to do. I started to get into fad diets and like all those kind of things, like quick fixes, and so I was just looking for answers, and I was kind of flirting with things. I'd like free guides and free this because I was trying to be frugal and trying to do it on my own. And I saw something you posted, and so we connected, and we started to establish some goals. And I was a little hesitant, and I knew that this was going to be a good plan for me, and I knew at this point I needed to invest myself into something, into a system that was going to help me build sustainable habits. And I was hesitant because I had a hunch that this was going to actually work really well, but it was a pretty vulnerable moment because it was going to expose a lot of my own weaknesses, a lot of the things that I struggle with. I had a little bit of pride that I could just kind of do it on my own. I was an athlete growing up, and you know felt like I could kind of research on my own and figure it out. And but I was also kind of like at the kind of the tipping point of I'm just not figuring it out. And that was like the motivation to jump in, but I was still a little bit reluctant. What if it doesn't work? What if I, invest a good amount of money in it and I don't see results? Or like, what if people actually see like the things I struggle with day in, day out? So it's kind of a combination of like everything's kind of out on the table. Like this coach is going to know all of what I do day in, day out, as far as nutrition, fitness wise. Um, and also like just kind of the pride and like kind of wanting to do it on your own and figure it out. I'm kind of that way in a number of different things, like getting directions to this place. I need to I'll figure it out on my own, but I knew I just couldn't do it alone. And I just knew I needed a season of my life to dedicate to building habits and having a system for doing it, and just learning more about, my body and what I need to be taking in and building better habits. So I mean, I think that's ultimately why I decided to jump in, was because I saw in your program like a system that I could build a routine around, and it worked around like my lifestyle and what I did for a living and my family situation and what I had for weights and all kinds of things. There was just a system I could plug into that was consistent, that I could build a routine around, and just lots of education on what I could do to attack the nutrition element of my fitness. So it kind of eased my reluctancy to join. Um, and I knew it was going to be worth the investment. I just needed to get above my pride a little bit.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And that's definitely common with a lot of people, when they first join as well. But, obviously, since joining you, you've been doing really well. So what do you feel like is kind of the biggest value you feel like you've gotten, maybe that you didn't even expect to get, or some of like the skills like you feel like you've picked up?
Yeah. So I just being an athlete, a lot of the workouts like were very familiar to me. I was able to just enter into it, and I enjoyed it the most of the time. There are some mornings where it was like really hard to do it, but I think that those were really valuable for sure. Like having workouts 3-4 times a week that I could just jump into without having to think about it. And then as far as nutrition, just the value in learning like how much I was eating, and like I didn't need to eat that much. And just learning like what little tricks I could take, and just the value in just measuring food, and the amount of time it takes isn't that much, and just doing that little extra amount to like measure it out. And just those little things. But I think that the one thing that I wasn't really expecting is just or I was expecting, but not this much, was just the level of accountability. And the accountability that didn't need to be said, like the regular check-ins every week, the constant, remarks and feedback from the coach, the availability of the coach to provide, answers to questions. And it wasn't anything that you or, Coach Mark needed to say, to challenge me. It was just like, it was just the regular checking in, and I just wasn't really expecting that. And so that was really helpful for me, just to kind of have that availability and that just regular touch point, just every week, and that provided the accountability that I needed. I felt like I was pretty motivated, and I feel like I can keep myself pretty accountable if I'm motivated to something. But I think that just provided the foundation that I needed, and I knew I was going to expect some accountability, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. So that I really appreciate that. That's extremely valuable, and I think that provides, aside from the education and the workouts, like that's kind of the thing that I think stands alone in this for sure, is the accountability and the coaching.
Awesome. So happy to hear that you benefited from that. And now let's kind of go through, people are probably wanting to know, okay, like what results has he gotten? So why don't you share your wins since joining the program?
Yeah. So it was spring of this year, and I went to get a physical, and I was 238 pounds, and that was pretty regular for me. And I would, you know, I regularly dip down to like between 225 and 230 if I was like trying to cut weight. And that was where I started. I had cut about 10 pounds before I jumped into your program, um, but since then I've actually lost 25 more pounds. So I'm at 199 and a half, which is like totally like surprised the heck out of me, and more than I expected actually. So I lost 25 pounds, 3.5 inches off my waist. There's actually a number of t-shirts that I own that were always kind of snug tight on me, and I always felt a little awkward and uncomfortable in them. But I really like the t-shirts, and now I can wear them and they fit normally. So I think that's definitely a huge win for me. And I just went to a funeral the other day, and a few of my aunts and uncles have said, "Hey, have you lost weight? I've noticed." And just to be able to feel confident, even more confident in my own skin, is probably an intangible win for me. And just knowing that like I can feel good about like where I'm going forward. And I think that's definitely the tangible win, seeing the results of the weight loss and being at a place where I ideally want to be at. But now, like, just the whole system and the habits I've built, and just being able to plug that into that every week, for the long term, like I feel like, I felt like I knew quite a bit, but I just feel like I know so much more now, and I have such long-term skills and competencies to continue doing this, and I'm really confident in that. So that's probably one of the bigger wins. But yeah, it certainly feels really good. I got on the scale this morning and got below 200 for the first time, and I don't know when I was that, lean, probably since high school or college. So, and that was 20 years ago. So I got 199.4 this morning. So that was like, my wife and I are going to celebrate a little bit tonight. Not too much. Not too
That's
much.
fair enough. But no, I'm so happy to hear that you've obviously, completely transformed your body and are feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And when I look in the mirror, it's like, yeah, my body is certainly transformed in a way that, like, I just feel like really proud of what I did, but I just extremely glad I made that decision, because I just wouldn't have gotten to that point, I think, if I didn't do this.
awesome. So happy to hear that. So
Mhm.
now people are probably listening to you. They're like, huh, I maybe have similar goals. Maybe I'm where you were, a few months ago. Like they're thinking about, should I join? Should I try it out? What would you say to anyone who's maybe like on the fence about joining?
Do it. I remember our conversation, and it was like the week after both our babies were born. It was like middle of July, and August and September are the busiest months for me. And you asked me, why do you want to do it now? And I was at the tipping point, and I was like, momentum is like coming my way, and I want to capitalize on this. And if I told you I'll wait 2 or 3 months when life gets less busier, I know that that wouldn't have happened. Like, and then psychologically, it's like if you have this like goal and you like have the motivation to to hit it, like, start today, start now, and don't wait. Because I said that so many times, like, I'll wait. I even talked to my dad the other day. He's like, I'll start with losing weight after the holidays. And it's we just don't know how much time we have, here, and we don't, the time is now. So if you're on the fence, like, you're just going to get so much value out of this right now, and you're going to feel so much like confident in yourself, and you're going to like be motivated day in, day out to continue like reaching like your optimal fitness level. So seize the day. Just opt in, do it. Don't let anything kind of become an obstacle for you.
Love it. Appreciate those words of wisdom, and thanks a lot, Mark. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, of course.